So Tottenham 0, Chelsea 2. I'm with legend Micky Hazard. Micky, talk me through the game.
Very disappointing, never got going in terms of from the first to the last whistle. At no point did we find our form. You know, our tempo was way down on what it normally is, and when we're at our best, we press high up the pitch and circulate the ball much quicker and have great movement. Today we looked a tired team. I don't know why, but we did, and they looked full of energy. So we got what we deserve. Sometimes you go into games and you can't explain why you've got no energy, but you haven't. That was what today, sadly for us, was one of those days, because we could have gone fourth. Results, Man United had lost as well, so we could have been sitting fourth going into Christmas. But hey, got to pick ourselves up. You know, unfortunately, performances like that sometimes happen, and it's very disappointing that it happens in a big game.
Micky, is it not? It's just so disappointing, though, from a fan's point of view, that the fact that we could go fourth, wake up Christmas Day, that Tottenham will be fourth, everything would look rosy again, and now we seem to be 6 points away from top four again. Some people would argue, and I've spoke to a lot of Tottenham fans already, and they've said that as soon as we face a decent team under Jose Mourinho, Manchester United, Bayern Munich, and now Chelsea, we've lost. And you know, no disrespect to the easier teams, but we've beaten the easier teams. Would you agree with that?
Well, not necessarily. In terms of name, without doubt. In terms of name, it looks on paper like we've played easier teams and beaten easier teams, but ultimately you can only beat what's in front of you. Yeah, listen, I don't think Chelsea, I don't think Man United are particularly great sides. Certainly nothing to fear. But what you have to do whenever you play a top team, i.e. as in name, you have to mentally be ready for it. And half the battle is won in the mind. You know, you're playing Man United. The battle's won in your mind, and you have to assert your style and of play on them, not let them assert it on you. Today, I felt like we dropped off, let them have the ball, and they gained confidence as they circulate the ball. If you watch when we did manage to get any form of pressure under them, they gave the ball away. So if I was saying the way to play against the top teams is that you press them high up the pitch, that's when we're at our best. It didn't feel like that today. But as I said, mentally you have to prepare and cope with the pressure of playing a big name team. You know, if you're playing against Lionel Messi, you know you've got a job on your hands, so you prepare physically and mentally that this is going to be tough. But when you go to Old Trafford or when you play at Chelsea or at Arsenal, you have to prepare differently than you have to Brighton. That doesn't mean it's any easier game or any harder game. That means that it's a different preparation. You have to really believe in yourself and in your teammates. And maybe today there were signs that we didn't have the same mental belief that we have in other games.
Are you surprised though, Micky, with the attacking line that we've got, that we played today, that they didn't even really test the goalkeeper, did they?
Yeah, but listen, you win as a team and you lose as a team. So what I'm about to say, I hesitate to say, because I think that you know, when teams concede goals, I always say defending starts at the front. If your front boys are not defending well, you're not going to not concede goals. And vice versa, if you're not scoring goals, then you're not attacking well from the back. I didn't feel the front three got anywhere near the service that they need to succeed, but by the same token, their movement wasn't as good as it has been. I mean, I think we've got one of the best attacking forces in the world, but today we didn't see it because there was a lack of energy today for some reason, and obviously the service wasn't great, but ultimately there you have to make the runs and give the people on the ball areas that they should hit and find them in making those runs into space. So it was a combination day. There wasn't the same movement, but there wasn't certainly the same service.
But as a previous player yourself, you know, from a fan's point of view, they would be asking, why weren't the players up for it today? Why weren't they really going for it today? You know, knowing that top four place was in sight.
It's very difficult to say why. I have no idea why, because, you know, I always say that the mark of great players is how they perform in big games. And this was a big game, not necessarily in the context of the season, but in the context of this one game. it was a very, very big game because it could have took us up into fourth, which then keeps the momentum going that we've built, and it knocks their momentum a little bit down. So sometimes, you know, if I can describe it as in the face of a clock, if you can imagine that 6 is your starting point, and you build yourself up mentally and physically, and within that there's adrenaline that you have to accommodate, and there's a nervousness. But if you work your way around to sort of just before 12 o'clock, so there's the 6 o'clock, if you're nervous and adrenaline is just before 12, that's a good nervousness. It's a good energy, because you need that to perform, a good adrenaline, because you need it to perform to your best. You can't go into a game flat, you know, like as if you've got no nerves or no adrenaline surges or no nothing. So if you go around it, but if you go beyond 12 and the game becomes too much, you focus too much on the mental side, too much on the adrenaline surge, you get too much adrenaline, then it becomes a bad energy, you know, and it almost feels like the game was so big today that we pumped ourselves up too much. We went past the 12 o'clock mark and we sort of lost that edge because we were over-psyched up for it. If you understand what I'm saying, you know, just before 12 o'clock is where you need to be to perform at your best. It felt like we had gone round to 3 o'clock. So we wanted to win too badly. You know, you can strive to win so badly that it totally affects your performance, and it overrides any good vibes inside you that you build up.
Micky, can I say though, surely beating the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea, we need these results to finish top 4 this season, don't we?
Well, no, we do. Absolutely. No, I mean, you know, you have to presume that the teams above us, they're going to beat all the lesser lights.
Yeah.
They're going to lose to some of the bigger boys, yeah? And they're going to win some of the bigger boys. So we have to presume that that's what they're going to do. So that means we're going to have to win more of the big games to get ourselves back into contact. Listen, it's far from over. There's 21 games to go, 20 games to go, whatever it is. Okay, so there's no way in the world that we're out of this race. We're still in the race, 6 points behind. It wasn't 2 weeks ago, we're 9 points behind.
Yeah, true.
So we've gained
True.
3 points.
Yeah.
So we're still well and truly in the race, right? But if we're going to qualify for top 4, we're going to have to beat some of the bigger boys on the way, because they won't lose to the little lights. Simple as that.
Are you still confident for a top 4 finish?
I am, yeah, but not if we perform like that. There's no explanation for performing like that. There's no understanding of why we perform like that. The last game I came here, we were sensational. Harry Kane was unbelievable, and it's almost like Harry's the trigger. When Harry's working his socks off and moving into space, fighting for everything, he also finds more space to play. Today he was a bit more static than he normally is, and of course became a little bit easier for the big boys at the back to mark. But he seems to be the trigger that triggers the work rate and the movement, which is wrong, because you shouldn't be relying on one guy. But as I said, we're not a bad side. We're a very good side. We just had a bad performance.
Can I just ask you about the Heung-min Son sending off? Do you think that was a sending off?
Oh no, I think it was a shocking decision. If VAR wants to destroy football, then it needs to keep making decisions like violent conduct. If that was violent, then Christ Almighty, I think Graham Roberts should have been sent off every week. No, I thought it was a shocking decision, and I think VAR is shocking. And I think that something needs to be done. I thought VAR was brought in to help with the game-changing decisions. Well, yeah, they certainly were. They made a game-changing decision that eliminated any opportunity of us coming back from a sort of very, very minor retaliation. At worst, it was a booking. And also, isn't it about time they looked at the type of player involved? I mean, Son hasn't got a dirty bone in his body. Yeah. Surely when they look at Son, they think it was just an instinctive reaction that he just threw his foot out. It wasn't like a lash out where he went full-blooded. I mean, Vaughan needs to go, in my opinion. I can't stand it. Whether it went for us at Manchester City in the Champions League, doesn't matter. Whether it helped us in the semi-final at Ajax with the keeper, it doesn't matter. It has to go. It's crap. It's a waste of space. It's destroying the game. I'm bored. I was bored today.
So if you had a choice to get rid of it, you would get rid of it?
Get rid of it. I'd keep the goal line technology, and maybe the offside technology, but that's it. I didn't realise it was brought in for fouls outside the box now, like when Son got sent off. I mean, it's just ludicrous. How long before we don't have a ref out there? We just watch it on get refs 300 mile away, watching a TV monitor making decisions. Let's do away with the refs. We don't need them. But then the games will be 400 minutes because we had 8 minutes of extra time today. Could have easily been 20 minutes. Let's be honest. It's shocking. I was bored out my brains, and I think fans need to actually start a campaign. Hashtag get rid of VAR. And get rid of it. It's rubbish. It's destroying the game.
Mickey, lastly I wanted to ask you about the FA Cup. Tottenham haven't won the FA Cup since 1991, a ridiculous stat for a club like this. Would you think that Mourinho would put out a very, very strong team against Middlesbrough in order to win this competition?
I have absolutely no doubt he will put the strongest team possible out on the day. He's a winner. He's not here to finish second. You know, he'd be devastated by today. He's here to win trophies, and I've got no doubt the FA Cup will be his biggest target. It's a shame we're still not in the League Cup because his League Cup would have been his biggest target. So yes, no doubt he will put out. Listen, winning trophies is not easy. You know, just because you get a top manager doesn't mean you're going to win trophies. Well, you have to start somewhere.
But we need a trophy, don't we?
Absolutely.
We really do.
We have to start somewhere. So winning the lesser of the trophies, you know, if you say, right, I'm going to target Champions League, well, that's an incredibly tough trophy to win. If you say I'm going to target the Premiership, that's an incredibly tough trophy to win. But if you say, let's target the League Cup and the FA Cup this season, you know, you might just get over the line because some of the big boys, they play their reserves. They get knocked out early and it makes the run through. It's not like in our day where everybody played their best teams. They put out their weaker sides and you have a chance of going on and winning them. So, listen, game's about the glory, let's go and win a trophy.
Mickey, thank you so much for the interview and thank you so much for coming on this channel so often during 2019. Have a great Christmas. Come on, you Spurs.
And let's cheer the boys on and get their spirits lifted on Boxing Day. This is a big game for us.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.